One of my favorite things to do when I was younger was go on long hikes when my family went to visit my grandmother's house. When I was really young, I didn't get too adventurous, but once I got into my teens, I was able to spend more time out in the woods. In fact, sometimes I would bring along a tent and just camp out there. This story happened when I was 17 years old. My family was heading into Grandma's to spend a couple of weeks. I really wanted to go out and go hiking, so I told my family I was probably going to go out on the first day, hike for the entire day, camp out overnight, and return home the following day. I was looking forward to this so much, in fact, that I only visited with the grandparents for a short amount of time before I headed out to the forest. My grandparents lived in a very rural area, and there were miles and miles of woods to explore. I would always do my best to try and find new areas to look around. This time I started by climbing a hill and descending into the following hollow. I went down the hollow and then up another hill. This was starting to get into territory that I wasn't familiar with at all. I was hoping to really find some new interesting things. I've seen caves, waterfalls, and a lot of other cool stuff in the past. This time, I did come across a very, very large creek that was just beautiful. I walked along it for a while and found a log to cross. At this point, it was starting to get dark outside, and I figured that I should set up my tent. I made a little fire and fixed myself up a nice little dinner. After that, I read a small bit and decided to go and get some sleep. I laid down in my sleeping bag and was about to close my eyes when suddenly I heard something. I was sure it was just an animal. Maybe my fire had attracted it or something. But I still got out of the tent just to make sure. When I got out, I saw a light out amongst the trees. It looked very much like someone holding a flashlight. The moment the light shone on me, it clicked off immediately. My eyes hurt for a minute due to the quick lighting changes. When they adjusted, though, I couldn't see anyone or anything. I was about to call out before an odd thought went through my head. Why would someone with a flashlight in the middle of the woods turn it off immediately once they saw someone? The only thing I could think of was that they didn't want me to know where they were. It was actually a chilling thought. I had to go back into my tent. I thought about grabbing my flashlight and looking for the person, but thought maybe that wasn't the best idea. If he didn't want to be seen, then the worst thing I could possibly do would be to find him. Instead, I figured I would just go back into my tent, try to relax, and keep aware of what was going on in my surroundings. Once I was back inside, I was stuck in between being extremely scared and trying to tell myself I really didn't have anything to be afraid of. As to which was actually accurate, I had no idea, but all throughout the night, I heard a lot of strange noises. At one point, I thought I heard someone walking around immediately outside of my tent. At that point, I grabbed my hunting knife just in case I had to defend myself. When I had it in my hand, I once again suddenly saw a light turn on outside my tent, but this time it was much closer. It shined right at the side of my tent, and then quickly shut out again. At this point, I was absolutely terrified. Someone was out there. There was no doubt about it. I lay there with my knife clutched tightly, waiting for something to happen. It was nerve-wracking, and I thought someone was going to try and hurt me. After a few moments, there was a loud noise as something slapped against the tent. I scuttled toward the other side and yelled that I had a knife. I heard some shuffling around, but no more slaps after that. After some initial noises, there was no further indication that anyone was around. I remained up until it was light enough to head back to my grandparents' house. Once I was ready, I got out to take my tent down. I looked at the wall of the tent that was slapped and nearly fainted once I saw it was smeared with blood. My thought was that someone definitely didn't want me out here and was trying to tell me to leave, or else. I packed up quickly and began heading home. Wow, it was so nerve-wracking just heading back. I jumped at every noise, but the quiet was even scarier. I didn't feel safe or relaxed at all until I finally got home. That was my last hike ever in those hills. I occasionally would babysit for my aunt and uncle back when I was a teenager. They lived out in the country and had a satellite dish, which was sort of rare at the time than it is now. They paid me a little, and I got to watch some great TV channels that my family didn't get. It was pretty great, actually. I was 15, and my cousins were 11 and 12 at the time of this story. My aunt and uncle were going to be out of town for a few days, so I packed up and went over to babysit. Once they left, I made some popcorn, and me and the kids settled in to watch a movie and have some snacks together. We were sitting there for quite a while when the girl got up in the kitchen in order to get a drink. When she came back, she whispered something to me. "There's someone in the backyard." Well, I guess I should have been concerned, but I wasn't right away. She was often scared of completely innocuous things, and even still asked me to check her closet before going to bed. I first told her that it was probably just her imagination, but she wouldn't accept that. She insisted that someone was definitely out there in their backyard. It would be really weird to see someone back there. I mean, it's a random backyard in the middle of just a bunch of hills and forests. If someone was out there, they didn't come from the driveway, because I would have seen the light. That meant that whoever it was would have had to have come through the woods. That was a bit of a scary thought. Still, though, I thought it was probably just her overactive imagination, but I was the babysitter, and I had a responsibility to make sure she wasn't scared. I told her I would go ahead and check it out. I walked into the kitchen and looked around. I checked in the backyard and didn't see anything back there, but as I was walking back to the living room, I suddenly saw someone's head peeking in through the hallway window. They quickly moved away once they spotted me. Scared myself now, I was happy that I was the sort of person who always made sure to lock the doors. Before I could get back into the kitchen, I heard someone begin pounding on the front door. The kids got scared, and the girl kept repeating that it had to be the man she had seen in the backyard. I grabbed the kids and brought them into the hallway. After a few moments of pounding on the door, the man out there began yelling for me to open up. I yelled at him to go away, or I would call the police. I also told him that I had a gun, and if he didn't leave immediately, I would be forced to use it. The knocking did stop for a while after that, but it was hardly a comfort. A few more moments later, and I heard a pounding once again, this time on the back door. I really didn't know what to think. Why was this guy even here, and why would he think I would open the door for a random person? I hustled the children into their parents' rooms. I got into the closet and opened up my uncle's gun. I told the kids to stay in the room and lock the door. I told the little girl to call the police. We were pretty far out, so it would take them a long time just to get there. I took the gun and went downstairs. The man had returned to the front door, but I let him know that I now had the gun. The police were called, and they were already on their way. The man went to a window and looked in. He saw me standing there with the rifle. Immediately, he took off running. After that, I guess the guy was gone. He didn't knock on the door, so the point had to have come across to him. The police arrived, and I explained what happened. I described the guy to them as well. They figured he was just some crazy hermit or something. They checked around the yard and in the surrounding area just to make sure he was gone before leaving. I immediately felt scared once again when they were gone. When my aunt and uncle got back, my uncle knew right away who that guy was. He let me know he would deal with it, and it wouldn't happen again. I'm not exactly sure what he meant by that, but knowing my uncle, a big brawling country boy type, it surely wouldn't be good for the man. You see a lot of really weird things out in the country. I don't know exactly why that is, but I hear and read a lot of really strange stories that happen out there. This is one of the really weirder ones. My aunt inherited a house from a friend of hers when I was around 13 years old. It was a very rural house. There wasn't another house for at least a 20-minute drive down a gravel road. I really enjoyed being with my aunt, so that summer, my parents dropped me off there for a month. It wasn't my first time in that house, as we had been over there a few times, but it was definitely my first time spending a while there. The house was sort of perfect for my aunt. On her own, she was quite a hoarder, but the people who owned the house were quite the hoarders too. when they passed away, they had things stacked all over the house. Hell, there was one room that was completely stacked with National Geographic magazines, and when my aunt moved in, she didn't clean up any of the clutter. I was really curious about what I could find in there, so one day my cousin and I decided we were going to go explore the attic. It was a really large attic and had tons of things stored in it. We were hoping we could find something frightening. There were a lot of clothes, boxes, and stacked furniture in it. When we were exploring an old dresser, we found a small metal locked box in the bottom drawer. It took us a while to break the lock, but when we finally did, we found a really old diary in the box. It was dated during the Great Depression. Not all of it was easy to read, but we both went and read quite a bit of it. I can tell you one thing, it was one of the most horrifying things I had ever read in my life. The diary had a lot of weird pictures drawn in it. They were like looking into the mind of a psychopath. Pictures of people being hung from trees, with a wrapper that looked like barbed wire. They were bleeding. Pictures of decapitations. Some were bludgeoned, limbless, and there were many of them. I do want to make clear, though, that these were drawings, not photographs. But what got me the most was that they were all named. The picture would be on the left page, and the right page would have a description of how the person was killed. It was quite disturbing. Now, we were young and into these kinds of scary things, so of course, part of us was comfortable thinking this could be real, because in reality we knew it had to be fake. However, as we went through it, we found something that made us think that maybe it could be true. There was a story about the very house we lived in, and the man writing the book really wanted a house, and it was this house. He explained how the owner was a relative, and that he was the only person possible to inherit the house. He explained that he was going to kill the guy before he could write a will, so the house would be his for sure. The next page explained that he went camping with this uncle, and murdered him out in the woods. He claimed he buried him in pieces under different heavy rocks, so he would never be found. The uncle was reported missing by a coworker. He was eventually pronounced dead when he was never found, and the man writing the book moved into the house. That was the last entry in the diary. I asked my cousin what the name of the guy who left the house to my aunt was. He didn't know, but we took the name from the diary and asked her. It was that same person. We didn't tell her about the book. We thought she would get rid of it. She was unlikely to ever go through the old furniture, and we knew it would be safe if we left it there. The two of us often went up and looked at that book. We have no idea if the man was just a fan of scary things and wanted to be a writer. We have no idea if he was delusional. And we have no idea if everything in that book was the absolute truth either. It's been a few decades since I last seen that book. My aunt eventually sold the house and moved elsewhere. I sort of wish I would have taken it with me. Now, in the internet age, I might have been able to find out more about it, and discovered whether or not it was truly real or fake. What is up, guys? Blue Spooky here, as always. Thank you guys so much for watching, especially if you made it this far to the end of the video. If you guys liked the video, please be sure to like, share, or subscribe if you feel so inclined. If you do decide to subscribe, make sure to hit that bell button to stay notified for all the videos I put out in the future. For updates, this weekend, probably on Friday or Saturday, I'm going to be putting out the first video in a new series where I cover true crime topics that I find interesting. I hope you guys will enjoy that one. I spent a lot of work on it and did a lot of research, so I think it's going to come out good. I hope everybody likes it. Hope a lot of people watch it. Let me know what you guys thought of this video. Be sure to tell me what you think in the comments below. If you guys have a particular story you'd like me to read, or a story that you'd like to send in yourself, please be sure to take a look in the description below the video. Links to all my social media will be there, including my Facebook, Twitter, and Gmail accounts. Please feel free to send me a message on any of those if you want to talk. I'll try to get back to you as soon as possible. Be warned though, Facebook I don't check as often, so I might not respond as quickly on that one. If you do decide to send in a story, please be sure to include in the tagline what the name of the story is if it has one, how you'd like to be credited in the description of the video it appears in, and the theme of the story if it has one as well. Please do try to make sure you have neat grammar and all that kind of stuff, so it's easy to read. If you're curious about the music used in this video, it will appear in the description below the video in the order which it appears. If you're curious about the art in this video, my friend Alan is the artist who does all of the work for all my videos. All the links to his social media is in the description as well, so if you like his stuff, please be sure to check him out. I'm pretty sure he does commissions, so you might be able to get something good from him. As well, this weekend I'm finally going to start uploading videos to the second channel, so if you haven't subscribed already to the second channel, please be sure to subscribe and take a look at that one when it finally comes out. I know I've been saying that for like half a year, but it's finally time. The time has come. Videos will be coming to the second channel, so please be sure to check it out. I think that's all for now, guys, so thank you so much for watching, and I hope you guys have a great day.